Welcome to Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians, an interactive panel discussion. Fridays at 1 p.m. Brought to you by the Austin Federation of Musicians and with the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee. The Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee are members of the Austin Federation of Musicians, Local 433 of the American Federation of Musicians, aka the Musicians Union. Some of us work as contractor 1099 workers, and others work as employee W-2 workers in various aspects of the music industry.
The goal of this session is to share our experiences, including trials and tribulations related to the Texas Workforce Commission, or TWC, with other musicians in the state of Texas to aid in navigating the TWC application process. We are not experts in unemployment assistance. We are musicians.
The information contained herein does not constitute either legal advice or an official pronouncement or a position of the Austin Federation of Musicians, but rather is only the personal opinions of the panelists. The panelists do not give legal advice or make official rulings on agency matters, should not be cited as authorities in any matter before the agency or when dealing with agency staff about a case, and must minimize their involvement with administrative processes. They also do not give legal advice on any other matter, and any information they should give should not be used as a basis for taking any employment-related action. Before taking any employment action that could adversely affect an employee, or before using any sample form or policy you may obtain from this group, you should consult a licensed private sector employment law attorney of your choice. All right, welcome back. This is Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians for December 11th, 2020, a year that will certainly live in our memory. Daisy's joining me today. Hello, Daisy.
Hello.
Yeah. We always start the broadcast by kind of highlighting the websites that are at the bottom of the page in the description. If you're just getting into unemployment as a musician, those are the links that you should start with. That includes the TWC official website, their official Facebook page with news, our Local 433 Musicians Unemployment Information Sharing page is there on Facebook, and our COVID-19 resources page on our website, afm433.com. And then also Who Represents Me is the website. That's the Texas version, and that allows you to figure out who represents you. And that has become very important, both as far as federal aid, but also as far as even fixing your state unemployment applications. And figuring out what's happening with that and how to get those things resolved. That's become incredibly important as well, going through the state senator's offices. So that's how you can find out who your state senator is, and school board representative, House of Representatives in Texas, and also your U.S. House of Representatives representative, and your senators as well. So we also usually, after that, we go to beverages. I'm doing coffee today. Do you have a beverage, Daisy?
I do. I have tea in my Marfa Public Radio cup, my favorite cup.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. Have you played on that radio station? I bet you have.
Yeah, they let me do an hour once, just live.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Nice.
Yeah, the community radio stations. That's the best radio, right? I mean, it's really the only variety type radio stations that we have left are those community, maybe college radio stations.
Totally. And like KUTX here, they play the local musicians from here. Marfa Public Radio plays the local musicians out there and the people like me that tour out there regularly.
Yeah.
Us in too, which is very cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Then of course we also have KAZI Community Radio and KOOP Community Radio, and then there's also KMFA locally here that does classical music and plays our local groups as well as national stuff. So that's really cool. And yeah, love that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll probably have kind of a short session today. The other members of the panel can't be here today because they're busy, which is awesome. We always love to hear that. So there is still music happening, and we're finding ways to do it, even though it's very difficult to have an audience. There's other ways to reach our audiences, and so we always encourage everybody to figure out any way they can to do that. So um, we could start in, I guess, probably the most relevant thing to unemployment is the federal, negotiations that really seemed to be when last we saw everybody last Friday. It really seemed like there was some momentum in the federal government to get some, get a relief package done by the end of the year or before Christmas, because which is very important for us, because most of our uh, brothers and sisters are on that PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance that comes from. Uh, the money right now is not coming from the federal government, but it's enabled by the CARES Act. The fact that our state can pay us a small amount right now um, is enabled by that CARES Act, and that gets that ends on uh, December 26th for Texas because of the way the weeks work out. So that's getting to be of really great concern for a lot of us. If you're on the PUA, that's most of our brothers and sisters who are either contractors or self-employed workers would be on that. If you're on unemployment as a W-2 worker from that type of job, then you're on standard unemployment, and that will keep going into January at the present moment. But without action from the federal government, the PUA funding is going to end on the 26th, which is a horrible time for that to end, because right, I don't have any Christmas party gigs. Do you have any Christmas party gigs, Daisy?
No, I'm making one on Facebook Live. But
Yeah.
yeah, I figured something free, and if people want to donate, they can. But a lot of people don't have it right now, and I still want to offer that positivity.
Yeah, it's not just us, right? The whole economy as a whole is really depressed right now, and not just emotionally, but
Yep. Also emotionally.
but also emotionally. Yes. Yeah. Well, that's a great idea, and it's yeah, it's very possible to do those kinds of things. Yeah, and you can also, especially if you're going to archive your performance, you can also protect that on a joint venture agreement with the union, just in case somebody tries to use it later, then you can make money from it. So that's another good reason to join the union. Um, yeah. I guess speaking of that, I can announce on this show for the first time, we are going to do another union membership drive.
Woo!
Yeah, starting tomorrow, you can join the union without any initiation fees, and that's going to go to January 31st. We're going to make a big announcement, of course, on the Facebook page and everything. But yeah, yeah, there's a lot of folks that want to join right now because of the representation, with streaming residuals. We just had a victory with that. The representation with the classical music groups. The contracts that allow us to protect all these things that we're dumping on the internet as fast as we can, trying to keep up with our audiences. The union has ways to protect that. So, yeah, it's a great idea. If you can do it right now, if you don't have the funds, don't do that right now. We want you to eat before you do that. But yeah, so. But anyway, yeah, back to the federal government. Last Saturday is the last article I really have that was sort of, talking about the momentum that they had going in the Congress and the House in Washington.
It
Um,
was looking good there for a minute.
yeah, it really was. I mean, it still kind of looks good, but
Yeah.
they were talking about, doing another CARES Act like weekly boost to
Yep.
unemployment, for jobless benefits. They were talking about business subsidies. They were talking about another direct payment to
Yeah.
taxpayers.
Yep.
And they were talking about help to state and local governments to keep to keep all our institutions running, and specifically, to get the help the institutions that are going to be distributing this vaccine. They need help, not just with logistics, but even just with education programs, because there's so many people now that have received all this confusing information about what what a vaccine is, what this vaccine is and what it does, and things like that. And of course, we're not even talking about one anymore, right? There's 2 or 3 vaccine candidates now, and there's a lot of information that we've uh, we've kind of gotten wrong, and we need to get right. And the states need money for that too, if they're going to be responsible for distributing this vaccine and all that. So that's all was all part of it. But then what happened this week? We have continued dispute of the election that's been kind of rocketed to the top of the headlines. Our Texas Attorney General has jumped into the fray with this lawsuit that other states have piled onto, trying to reverse the election results in the battleground states, and all that has kind of gone to the top of the headlines.
Yeah, how convenient, right? How
Yeah,
great.
which is really disappointing, and we really haven't heard that much about what's happening. Although we have heard that the White House now has said, oh, maybe we don't need jobless benefits, maybe we don't need any further unemployment aid, which we know as musicians is not true. I mean, our jobs are not going to come back like they were until everyone's totally comfortable rubbing elbows together without masks on, and that's not going to happen for at least another 6 months, if not probably more.
Yep.
So yeah, so it is really important, those letter writing campaigns that we've been talking about all along, especially our Texas senators, Ted Cruz and John Cornyn. Those are the guys that represent us here from Texas. So last week we started posting the contact links for those senators, but also the letter writing campaigns to the Senate in general. And those are really easy to take part in.
Yes.
Those senators' websites have the contact page is really easy to just write them a short email, send it off. The letter writing campaigns through the AFM are done through the Action Network, which makes it really easy to write a letter. It just you put your address in, and it figures out who your senator is, who your representative is, and it puts up a sample letter that you can then edit. You can put your own information in there, or you can leave it as it is and send it off. It's really quick.
That it's really, sorry to interrupt. I've heard that it's really good to, if you have it in you and you can, write your own little personalized message. I usually just put it at the very top, and also leave what they said, because it's all good and I mean all of that too. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sending it. But sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of places will kind of auto populate and trash group messages when they get a bunch of things from the same people. So I would like to think that our senators are not doing that. However, who knows? So if you can personalize it in any way, shape, or form, I think that really can do something.
That's a great point, Daisy. Yeah, and I like what you said about doing it at the top of the letter, so it doesn't look like all the other letters. So it has a little something different. And that's the best thing, is to have something about that's unique to you.
Yeah, your personal experience, which is going to be different than some letter someone else wrote.
Absolutely, and that's true for all those different communication things. The contact forms and the letter writing campaigns. Yeah, but you really can make a difference. And musicians, we can make a difference that way, probably better than regular folks, just because we're used to telling our stories. We're used to communicating emotions.
Yes, we're used to crowdfunding. We're used to struggling. We're used to not having a regular paycheck.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Speak it, sister. Right on.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of in a way built for these times, I feel, which puts us, as you said, in a really unique position to be advocates for, honestly, all workers, in my opinion. We're asking this for ourselves, but we're also, we're not the only workers that will benefit from these policies.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, we're used to telling our own stories, but we're also used to telling other people's stories too.
Yep.
Yeah, huge, awesome. Yeah, so yeah, let's dive in on those activism campaigns. You don't have to leave your house to do it. You can do it right there on your couch with the phone or whatever you've got. So yeah, we really need to move the needle on that because it seems to be getting buried under the rest of the drama again. Um,
Yep.
and it's really coming up quick. It's the 11th of December right now, and the benefits run out on the 26th. So
Yes. And we have had 4.5 months without the weekly boost that helped so many people not slip into poverty.
mhm.
And it's been 9 months, 8, 9 months since people got those stimulus checks.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's a really long time to go without a regular, steady, livable wage.
yeah,
And
it
isn't
really
that?
is.
We got to get on them. They gotta shift this. It's been too long.
It has, and there's just too many distractions. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the AOC Instagram event that we were talking about earlier.
Well, I am addicted to my phone, unfortunately. Millennial, ugh. So I was looking at Instagram like you do, and I saw AOC live. I thought, oh my God. Like, I just never catch her live. I'm not like a crazy fangirl. Well, maybe I am, but I'm not. I'm not even into politics specifically. But it was just like kind of a making some food and talking at the end of the day kind of vibe. But yeah, she basically said, like, it's just like shocking. Like it seems like it shouldn't be a partisan thing, but everyone's making it seem like a partisan thing. And on both sides, Democrats, Republicans, everyone is kind of not getting the job done for people. Basically, like passing a massive military budget this year, passing huge bailouts for Wall Street and for big businesses. And yet, as I just said, we haven't had COVID relief for working class American people in many, many months. And what very limited aid is still available, like, say, to people like me who are, self employed gig workers, gig economy people. We're about to be out of luck completely. So she was just kind of bringing us up to speed and like hoping that we can make some changes and hoping, like, of course her whole thing is like $600 a week is like something that can actually help people get through this, and the compromise that others are saying is like 300 a week is like all we'll do, which is like, is that something that you guys can live on? And of course the answer to that is no, but the other answer to that is it's better than nothing, right? So it might end up being more like a much lesser amount of money for people regularly, but like plus a stimulus check, maybe. I think that was kind of like her hope and vision for, like, if compromises must be made, that it will be not just a small amount of money, but like maybe a small amount of money and a stimulus check. So like fingers crossed. Honestly, at this point, I think anything helps, but that it's a small band-aid for a giant issue. If you haven't been able to make rent in months, that's $300 isn't going to help you very much. You might get some food for a week or two for your family.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but something needs to get done in the near term. Yeah,
Like
because January
very
is looking bleak.
real bleak. And I mean, it's not like we're in a place where COVID rates are down. We're at the peak right now. Who knows how bad that will get? I'm hoping that we all band together and you know minimize what's happening, but it's very bleak.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't seem to be a regional thing anymore. Like it's up everywhere. In the very rural areas of the country, it's up just like it is in the urban areas.
Which is like extra heartbreaking because I'm from a rural area. I mean, they don't have the resources to deal with anything like this.
Hmm.
So, like, if we're in a city, sure, our beds could be full like that. You know what I mean? That could happen, but at least we have a lot of beds. At least we have a lot of medical workers here. But if
Yep.
you're in a rural area, you do not have a lot of medical workers. You do not have a lot of ventilators, if any. And if your medical workers get sick, then you have nobody. So it's really, really scary, the place we're at as a nation right now.
Yeah. No,
Really hope.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of the biggest problems with our medical system is the rural hospital system has just been dismantled over the last 50 years or so. There's so many have closed.
Yep. I mean, we've divested so much. This is a huge conversation beyond what we're
Yeah.
having. We've divested for a long time in a lot of things that are good for communities and good for people. So I guess my overall hope is that out of this time, eventually we'll see a lot of that shift back into actually, serving communities.
I hope so because it's being demonstrated so clearly now, right? That it's such a problem. I really hope we can do something about it. But it's up to us, and we're going to have to keep on, all of our representatives to act.
Yes. And if they do not act, we need to vote them out next time.
There you go. Yes.
God,
Yeah.
I don't be a politician, but I'm like, man, we really need people who care about people. That was kind of my take home from the AOC thing last night. I think the politics of it aside, in a lot of ways, it's just like, wow, there's not really that many people that are actually championing I can't say that word, the common person and the common worker. And like Democrats and Republicans in power are both, getting a lot of money from a lot of special interest groups and big corporations. So we are not the people. We are the people they represent, but we are not the people that are maybe paying them off in a lot of ways. So I just hope that, again, many changes come out of this dark time in positive ways that are good for everybody. Please.
Yeah. That's the only way to go. I think the pandemic is really demonstrating that if no one is healthy unless everyone's healthy.
Totally. Yep. No one's free till everyone's free, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
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 Gotta look out for each other.
But getting back to the stimulus package, though, it's the point that AOC has been making, and a lot of the Democrats have been making, is that yes, they passed that giant bill, for defense spending, that was $750 billion or something like that. It's very very similar to the amount of money that they're trying to do, for the aid package, and they also did like 1.5 trillion, for business bailouts and things like that. So there's money there, and
Just saying, yep, there's money there. It's just, are they going to give it to people or not?
yeah, and are they going to let this economy, fall apart, and have to rebuild it from what will be left if we don't support, American working people.
Really hope we don't have to see that.
Me too. Yeah. So anyway, well, thanks for letting us know about that Instagram session, and that sounds cool. That's cool that she's cooking too.
Yeah, it was like dinner and Q&A. I don't think she cooked much. I think she sliced one vegetable and then just talked. But it was
The
still
idea
very.
is good. Yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
else was cooking somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, and I mean that's really that's a whole other issue. Like with the last probably 2 or 3 generations, like we don't cook as much as we used to, which makes us more vulnerable when things like this happen, where our income, slows so much down. When you're not able to cook for yourself, and you can only get takeout, you're even more limited financially.
Totally. Yeah, I know people that are fairly impoverished in Austin, but they don't have the resources and the know-how to maybe prepare meals for themselves. So yeah, they're getting taco takeout all the time, and man,
It
it's
adds
not
up.
cheaper that way. It is not cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good time for those of us that can to maybe, experiment with that. Maybe AOC is not much of a cook, and that's why she just chopped that vegetable. But we got time to learn now. She doesn't, but we do. So
Yeah.
I,
Well, and the idea is a good idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally encouraging preparing food for yourself. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got 2 more little points of light that we could talk about before we go,
Perfect.
because the rest of the news, I'm sorry, it's just not that good. But we're going to keep watching it. We'll probably do one more session of this broadcast next week before we knock off until January. And I'm hoping there's some good news from the federal government by then. Um,
Please.
but yeah, the points of light are well, it's a point of light. There is a article from yesterday in the Statesman about the city of Austin is about to extend the ban on evictions into 2021, and that's important. We have
Critical.
talked about that the last few weeks on this show, and it's a dark topic, but I think we have to talk about it because some people are there.
Oh yeah, around the country you start to see those social media posts of officers evicting people in snow and cold, and it's
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
and a lot of times it doesn't have to happen. Like if the if the tenant knows about these eviction moratoriums, they can get the paperwork to do it, but you often have to have the paperwork in hand, you know, to
You
do
got
it.
to know
And
them, which is its own privilege to be able to know that.
absolutely, yeah, that's a problem too, and that's also part, of the state and local government funding. They need, they actually need money to get that information to people that need it. Um, if they're going to help, if they're, I mean, they can just put it up on the website, but if you can't get to the website or you don't have a printer or whatever, you can't do it. So yeah, but it is they're extending the local ban, and yeah, if you're looking at eviction, yeah, make sure you look up the local ban, but also the federal eviction moratorium. You can get that paperwork, and you can send it. A lot of times the landlords are not aware of this, or they are aware of this, but they know that you're not aware of it. Um, so it's there, but you have to have kind of your ducks in a row. But there's people that can help you with that. There's also still rent relief in the city of Austin, at least.
That's
Um, what were we saying, Daisy?
Oh, I just said that's right. I've heard that one of my bandmates actually got the rent relief.
Oh,
I think
good.
3 weeks or a month ago, and he was like, "Everybody needs to apply. They still have money. Like
They
it's
do.
claimed somehow fast enough or whatever." So I'm thankful I live in the cheapest hole I could possibly find. But for most people, that is not the case.
Yeah.
So apply, apply, apply if you need rent relief.
Absolutely, and a lot of folks have said, like, well, what's the big deal? There's only December left, but that, I mean, God bless you if you think that. But there are people that are, 6, 7 months behind
Absolutely.
on their rent, and you could get that covered. Um, but that money goes away at the end of this month, at least at the city level. Now maybe it'll roll into another program, but you can get that done right now if you're behind on your rent. Yeah, the program is called Rent, which is people think that that's a cute acronym, but I think it kind of makes it a little more confusing. But it's called Rent. So yeah, I'll put the link to that in the show notes as well.
That's a fantastic resource. God.
Yeah, and but that eviction ban is still is going to be extended in the city. So yeah, if you're facing eviction, don't go. That's the simplest thing. Like, um, stay in your place.
Yep.
It's really difficult for them to get you out of there. So, and there are tenants resources from the state, from the city, um, all over the place. So yeah, don't go. Stay. Uh, is the simplest thing. Then the other point of light is we were just talking about our union brother Ron Wilkins, who was a very early victim of COVID-19. Was intubated in San Antonio after his touring Broadway gig. Went out of was canceled, and he's back. He's back teaching this fall. And he played the St. James Jazz Festival in Austin, which is great, and that's in the Statesman this week as well. So that's great to see. As of course, he's a trombone player, and that takes a lot of lungs. So I think that was a long road to recovery for him, but he's rolling. So congratulations, Ron. Yeah,
That's fantastic news.
yeah, it was really great to see that. So. And I'll put that article in the show notes too. There's a big picture of him playing the trombone, which is awesome. So yeah.
Play on, Ron.
That's it. Yeah, oh man, that's a great. That should be an album. We'll have to send that to him. But okay. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up, Daisy, this week?
Nope. Just hope everybody's well. Able to chill a little tiny bit and take care of themselves. Sending out the good vibes to all.
Yes. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Well, if you're watching this and you're a musician, we just want to encourage you: don't give up. Organize. There is strength in numbers, and we can get through this by sharing information and working together. Our solidarity is our strength, and yeah, join the union if you can. And we'd love to help you do that, and that will help raise every boat in the ocean here. So yeah, we'll see you next week, and yeah, Daisy, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Cheerio.